channel. If you're new here, welcome. So today I am so excited because we're finally getting back into creative makeup. And for those of you who don't know, creative makeup is probably my favorite makeup to do on this channel just because it is so expressive and it definitely allows me to transform into characters, which is my favorite thing to do. Today I thought it would be fun to do a Captain Marvel makeup and body paint tutorial inspired by the recent release of Captain Marvel and the upcoming release of Avengers Endgame. You best bet that this is the first in an upcoming series of makeup looks for Avengers Endgame because there are so many fun characters to transform myself into, and so I thought that this would be kind of a fun icebreaker for that. So anyways, with all that being said, if you guys are interested in seeing how I can achieve this Captain Marvel makeup and body paint, then just keep watching. Hey guys, I'm going to get started by taking my Buckle Bunny Beauty Fringe Benefit Primer and applying this all over my face before taking my Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation in medium neutral and applying that all over my face using my IT Cosmetics Airbrush Blurring Foundation brush. I'm then going to be moving on to my Buckle Bunny Beauty Cream to Powder Foundation in Mocha, and I'm going to be using this as my cream contour, so I'm going to be applying that to the areas that I want to deepen before making sure to blend that out so we don't have any harsh lines. Following that, I'm going to be taking my ColourPop No Filter Concealer in number 10 and just applying that to the areas that I now want to highlight or brighten in case some of the contour got into areas that could have made my face a little too dark. So this is going to be under my eyes, my forehead, under my cheekbones, my nose, Cupid's bow, and chin, and then I'm going to be making sure to blend that out. Once that is completed, I'm going to be taking my Airspun translucent powder and I'm going to be applying this to the areas that I had my concealer to let that sit and bake while we move on to our eyeshadow. To start off, I'm going to be taking my Smashbox 24-Hour Photo Finish Primer and applying that all over my eyelid before going into my Morphe James Charles palette, taking this nude color and applying this all over my eyelid. I'm then going to be taking this khaki color and applying this onto the lid as well, making sure to blend it out as I start to reach my brow bone. For this, I like to take a clean fluffy brush and just blend that out. I'm then going to be going into the white eyeshadow and just applying this to my brow bone to highlight it. Next, I'm going to be taking this medium brown eyeshadow and a dark brown eyeshadow, mixing them together, and I'm going to be applying this onto the lower part of my lid as well, slowly blending it upwards. This is something that you definitely want to make sure to blend as you go. We are not going for too intense of an eyeshadow look, but just enough to have something there. I'm then going to be taking some of that medium brown again and applying that to my lower lash line, making sure to blend that out as we go so we don't have any harsh lines before going back into the dark brown eyeshadow, and we're going to be applying that right on top as well, but focusing that more towards the outer corner of the lower lash line. Next, I'm going to be taking my Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Dimensional Dark Brown, and I'm going to be just applying this to my upper lash line, just creating a nice thin line. I'm not really looking to fully line my eyes, but just to help give a little bit of shadow, and I'm also going to be applying that to my lower waterline as well. Moving on to contour, I'm going to be taking my Too Faced Cocoa Contour Palette, taking medium and dark cocoa, and just applying this to my cheekbones to help deepen the contour from earlier. Next, I'm going to be grabbing my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer and bronzing up my face before going into my Physicians Formula Butter Blush in Plum Rose and just applying this to the areas that we contoured to help add a little bit more color and life. Speaking of adding more color, I'm then going to be taking my Buckle Bunny Beauty Honey Bunny Blush and just applying this to the apples of my cheeks. I'm then going to be prepping my eyelashes by curling them and then taking my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara and just swooping that through my eyelashes to help coat them before we add our false eyelashes later on. Next, I'm going to be taking my BH Cosmetics Spotlight Highlight Palette, taking Viva, and I'm just going to be applying this to my cheekbones to help add a nice glow and highlight, especially since Captain Marvel glows so much. This is definitely a nice touch to add. I'm then going to be going back to my Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil, and I'm going to be creating the tiny beauty mark that Brie Larson has before lightly covering it up with concealer to make it look more realistic and like we didn't just draw it on. I'm going to be taking my Kiss number 11 lashes and applying that to my lash line and letting that dry, and while that's drying, we're going to be moving on to lips. I'm going to start off by taking my Bite number 16 lip pencil and just outlining my lips lightly. Now, she doesn't look like she ever has too much product, so we want to go for a more natural look. So for this, I'm going to be taking my Buxom lip pencil in Dolly and just filling in my lips with this before moving on to my ColourPop Lippie Sticks in Razor and applying this right on top. Next, we're going to be moving on to the body paint, so I'm going to be taking my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk, and I'm going to be using this to outline her uniform. I personally prefer to use a white paint or white pencil to outline because it is very easy to blend away. For example, if you used black, that's going to be harder to remove if you make a mistake. And my camera had shut off while I was doing this, so I'm just going to be going over the pattern that I did for you guys. Honestly, I just looked at a reference photo and tried to mimic it as best as possible. Once you have your template all laid out, you can move on to taking some paint. I like to start off with the red paint, so I took my Mare Paradise paint in red and began to fill in the red areas of her uniform. Now, do keep in mind, this isn't the best paint job as opposed to some of my other body paints, simply because I had to go to work after this, and by the time I finished with the body paint, I kind of had to start to rush through it a little bit, so I apologize for that. So definitely try to make your lines a little bit straighter than mine, and feel free to add even more details than I did, especially more shading. Shading is my favorite part, and I did kind of have to rush through that, which was heartbreaking because, like I said, I absolutely love that step of the process. Next, I'm taking my Mare Paradise paint in blue, and like we filled in the red areas, we're now going to be filling in the blue areas. I recommend trying to outline the blue areas before filling them in to make sure that you don't start to blend them into the red areas and then you start having purple in the costume, which she doesn't have. So try to keep your straight edges, and I recommend outlining the area first before filling it in, and that usually helps me. Kind of just think of it like a coloring book. Then we're going to be doing the exact same thing with our Mare Paradise paint in yellow and filling in those bands before moving on to our Mare Paradise paint in black, outlining her medallion that she has in the center of her costume. I'm also going to be taking some of my Mare Paradise paint in white to add a few highlights on this as well to help make it look more realistic. And I'm also going to be going back into my Mare Paradise paint in red and creating the stripes on top of the yellow bands before moving back to my yellow and filling in the rest of the costume. I'm then going to be filling in the shoulder pad area with the Mare Paradise paint in red again, and I'm also going to be going back into my Morphe James Charles palette, taking the black eyeshadow, and this is where things got a little messy because I had to start to hurry. So take your time with this, but I'm going to be outlining the costume so that it doesn't look like the colors are just blending together. This is really going to help add more detail and separate all of the pieces. We also want to add some highlights, so I'm going to be taking my Mare Paradise paint in white and light blue, mixing them together, and I'm going to be applying that right under the medallion and a little bit on the neck piece as well. Following that, I'm going back into my black eyeshadow, and I'm going to be continuing my shadow edges. Once that is completed, I'm going to be taking my Mare Metallic Powder in gold and my mixing liquid, mixing them together, and I'm going to be applying this all over the areas that we added the yellow body paint to now make it gold. I'm then going to be going back into my black eyeshadow and adding shadows around my armpits, my neck, and the shoulders to kind of help make this look more three-dimensional and make it look like it is an actual piece of clothing. And last but not least, I'm going to be taking my medium and dark brown eyeshadows and applying this on the crease of the neck area to help add some more shading there. And that is the completed Captain Marvel makeup and body paint. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can see more Avengers makeup tutorials coming up within the next few weeks in honor of Avengers Endgame. Anyways, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!